Losing it in a mediation session, trying to keep the family together with jokes, and spreading the gospel of 3D printing. Viewers love the ups and downs of American Chopper, but now that it's over, we went looking for where the cast ended up. American Chopper returned to TV in 2018, a beneficiary of a television-wide reboot craze in which a variety of old familial favorites shot new seasons of episodes. It's amazing that even happened for American Chopper, seeing as how the previous attempt to revive the show, Orange County Chopper's American Made, was mired in lawsuits. According to Page 6, in April 2017, Thomas Derbyshire filed suit in Delaware State Chancery Court, arguing that his business partner and star of the show, Pohl Teutul Jr., used the money Derbyshire poured into Orange County Chopper's American Made for personal use. In simpler terms, Derbyshire accused Pohl Sr. of committing fraud. Things also soured when Teutul attempted to change his ownership deal with Derbyshire from 51-49 in favor of Derbyshire to a 50-50 split. Derbyshire also said in his filing that Teutul delayed production by taking a long fishing trip, and when he did show up to shoot, he wouldn't do scenes with Hells Angels higher-up Rusty Coons, which was contractually obligated. Derbyshire says Teutul also made product placement deals without his approval. That wasn't the only lawsuit Teutul had to deal with. JTM Motorsports alleged that Teutul had promised to promote their business, and in exchange, they'd work on his Corvette for free. Teutul apparently didn't keep up his end of the bargain, and the two sides met in a mediation hearing in July 2018. According to a source at Page 6, a mediation session fell into chaos. The source claims that Pohl grew agitated and screamed at JTM to give him back his car. He also apparently tried to lunge over the table before court officers were summoned and escorted him from the premises.
Just, saying things that you would never really want people to hear you say.
Despite his outburst, AOL.com reported that the case eventually resulted in a settlement deal where Teutul was to pay JTM $30,000. When the deadline to make payment passed, Teutul was found in contempt by a federal bankruptcy judge and was ordered to immediately pay JTM just under $17,000. In what could be considered odd timing or some bizarre guerrilla marketing, Pohl Teutul Sr. filed for bankruptcy in March 2018, just a day before the American Chopper reboot premiered. According to Chapter 13 legal paperwork obtained by Page 6, Teutul admitted to owning nearly 50 creditors a total of more than $1.07 million, against a net worth of around $1.8 million. Teutul also claimed a monthly income of $15,000 and expenditures of just over $12,600. While that technically means Teutul makes more money than he spends, he wouldn't have enough to pay off his crushing debts. According to the filing, his past due payments included a $32,000 judgment, $151,000 in taxes to the town of Crawford, New York, $21,000 in credit card debt, and $2,000 in medical bills. It seemed as if Teutul would receive some legal protections with bankruptcy status, but the story wasn't over. In April 2019, the trustee in charge of Teutul's case asked the court to dismiss the bankruptcy petition on the grounds that Teutul never supplied the right documentation that indicated a negative cash flow for his financial situation. About 4 months before he filed for bankruptcy and the whole world suddenly knew about his daunting financial problems, Pohl Teutul Sr. tried to get out in front of his cash flow issues by putting his enormous Montgomery, New York estate on the market. The October 2017 listing touted the 38-acre property's enormous garage, waterfalls, stocked pond, wooded areas, not to mention the many outbuildings designed to house farm animals. All of this in addition to the main house, the large pool, gazebo, hot tub, and volleyball court. The asking price was listed about $2.9 million, more than enough to get Teutul out of a few money jams. When no viable buyer emerged within 3 months, Teutul cut the price to $2.49 million. He eventually sold it in early 2019 for a total of $1.9 million. No stranger to lawsuits at this point, Pohl Teutul Sr. was wrapped up in yet another sticky legal matter in February 2020, though this time he wasn't alone. The previous June, a professional photographer named Scott Gunnels filed a lawsuit against Orange County Choppers, Broadcaster Discovery Inc., production company Pilgrim Media Group, Pohl Teutul Sr. and his son Mikey Teutul. He alleged that he owned the copyright on a photograph of the younger Teutul that had been used on 2 pieces of American Chopper merchandise without authorization or compensation. Gunnels also claimed that a different shot he took of Mikey Teutul was used to promote an art exhibition, and the Teutul's went so far as to remove his business's logo from the image. A Southern District of New York judge ruled in favor of Gunnels, ordering the Teutuls to pay the man a little over $258,000 in damages. With American Chopper winding down, Pohl Teutul Sr. began looking for some new ways to generate income, especially methods that could benefit from his celebrity. In November 2020, Pohl Teutul Sr. partnered with Keith Overton to develop the Orange County Choppers Roadhouse and Museum. Part restaurant, part monument to the Teutul family business, the establishment was conceptualized to feature a wide variety of memorabilia from American Chopper, rare items from the elder Teutul's personal collection, and of course, a few of the bikes that made him famous.
This is the original pilot that was done in 2002. I still have that.
Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, Teutul and Overton audaciously projected their opening date around the summer of 2021. And sure enough, they held a packed grand opening event on June 25th and have stayed in business ever since. What sets a Roadhouse apart from similar restaurants like Planet Hollywood and Hard Rock Cafe is the spacious outdoor pavilion setup that gives the area the feel of a permanent bike show. As far as tourist attractions go, the OCC Roadhouse appears to be firing on all cylinders. In 2019, following the completion of the 12th and final season the year prior, the Discovery Channel arranged for a special to be shot that would cap off the series as a whole and help the Teutuls ride off into the sunset. Unfortunately, it went over as smoothly as you'd expect for a show built on a uniquely volatile father-son relationship. American Chopper: The Last Ride aired on August 4, 2020. The episode ostensibly follows Pohl Sr. and Pohl Jr. deciding to put aside their differences to build one final bike before their original shop is demolished.
If we were able to do it in this space, it would be the perfect opportunity to build a bike together because we're never going to get another chance.
During this endeavor, however, Sr. continued to undercut and belittle his son. Real or reality TV, this old dynamic struck a sour tone that didn't sit right with fans as the final send-off to Orange County Choppers. Devoted audience members took to the American Chopper subreddit to voice their displeasure at the series ending. One moment in particular that several fans took umbrage with was Pohl Sr. going out of his way to point out that Jr. apparently did such unacceptable work on a bike that it cost the shop $90,000. All those fights between Sr. and Jr. were apparently not staged for the benefit of reality TV cameras. They've had their share of explosive arguments on the show, and tensions ran so high at Orange County Choppers that in 2008, Pohl Teutul Sr. fired Pohl Jr. from the shop, even though he co-owned it. Jr. later told Fox News that his dad giving him the axe ended up being a good thing because it set him on a path to starting his own business away from his father's critiques.
What are you building, a wheelie bar? Do you even know what a wheelie bar looks like?
During his year-long non-compete clause, Pohl Jr. got to work on other projects, including designing a dog park in Montgomery, New York, and performing a top-to-bottom overhaul of Coleman's Road Trip Grill. Once the clause expired in 2010, Pohl Jr. Designs opened, though it wasn't the smoothest of starts. Pohl Sr. tried to legally force Pohl Jr. to sell him his 20% share of the company, a matter that had been put on the back burner when father and son had to make amends. It turned out that getting rid of Jr. represented a breach of contract with the Discovery Channel, and it could have led to the show's cancellation. This all led the network to start to adjust American Chopper so that it could feature both Teutul's businesses, and called the quasi-spin-off American Chopper Sr. vs. Jr. After that series concluded in 2012, Pohl Jr. went back to Pohl Jr. Designs, and in 2015, he celebrated the birth of his first child. In September 2021, Pohl Jr. launched the self-titled Pohl Jr. podcast. It only lasted 5 episodes. Jr.'s reason for ending the series isn't officially known, but the episodes that remain available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify exclusively explore his desire to help veterans struggling with severe mental health problems. It's also possible Pohl ended the podcast because he found more fulfilling avenues to share his perspective, as the Pohl Jr. podcast appears to just be part of the titular designer's mission to express himself post-American Chopper. In addition to offering his services at speaking engagements nationwide, Jr. wrote a book titled The Build: Designing My Life of Choppers, Family, and Faith. The faith aspect of that title takes center stage in the book, as Pohl chose to use the book to discuss his relationship with religion for the first time ever. American Chopper fans came for the bikes, but stayed for the fights, as Pohl Teutul Sr. and Pohl Teutul Jr. frequently argued over just about everything. That makes for great addictive reality television, but things still had to get done around the shop at Orange County Choppers, and so fabricator and mechanic Vinnie DiMartino tried to keep his head down and get to work, always trying to remain dedicated to his craft. In 2007, DiMartino left American Chopper and OCC out of professional boredom and the need to grow. DiMartino founded his own shop, V-Force Customs, and explained his decision on V-Force's now-defunct website. "I had gone as far as I could there. I really didn't have any chance for advancement, and I had always wanted to have my own shop. So the natural progression was to leave and start my own place." He ran V-Force for 5 years, even working as an outside contractor for Pohl Teutul Jr. In 2013, DiMartino abandoned bikes for cars and opened DiMartino Motorsports, a car and truck repair company in Walden, New York. Rick Petko from American Chopper took a job as a builder and fabricator at Orange County Choppers not long after cameras rolled on the show's first season, and he happily built all kinds of interesting rides. Even when the Pohl Tuttles split up to run separate shops and attempted to keep as many OCC employees on their sides, Petko was able to stay on everyone's good side. Everyone could agree on Rick. Both Tuttles attended his wedding in 2012 to the former Brittany Cockerham. By the end of 2015, Petko was a dad to 2 young daughters. He was still working at OCC by then, but he eventually grew tired of his 90-minute commute going each way from his home in northeastern Pennsylvania to the shop in southern New York. He eventually took a job as a chief fabricator at the Pocono Mountain Harley-Davidson complex in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, roughly a mile from his house. And when he's not working with metal, Petko works with metal. He runs a small knife forging company out of his home called RPD & Co. and frequently shows off his designs on the company's Facebook page. Paul Teutul Sr. and Paul Teutul Jr. frequently and loudly disagreed throughout their years together on American Chopper. Fortunately, there was a third member of the Teutul family around to maintain a tenuous peace. Mikey Teutul was hired at first to do entry-level work around Orange County Choppers, emptying the garbage, answering the phones, things of that nature. A funny and friendly guy, he did his best to keep things chill in the shop and in his bloodline.
You know, Mikey was always a funny kid.
What time are you supposed to be here?
It's Paulie's fault.
But a man can only take so much. According to the Discovery Channel, he walked away from the Chopper franchise in 2012 so that he might, quote, seek some peace of mind and work on my relationship with my dad. He did come back to work, however, pitching in at both OCC and Paul Jr. Designs. Also a budding artist, Teutul used part of his time off to open an art gallery in Montgomery, New York, which featured his paintings. It closed in 2014, but Teutul shifted gears to a web series. Launched in 2016, Bumming Around aimed to shine a light on New York City's homelessness problem, but only 2 episodes were made. The youngest of Paul Sr.'s sons also started a comedy talk podcast with Al Franco, an OCC worker who didn't feature on the hit television series. Titled Mikey and Al, this weekly catch-up with the Chopper's comic relief premiered May 11, 2023. Since its release, it's managed to cover a wide variety of topics relating to Michael's experience shooting American Chopper, growing up as a Teutul, and how his life has changed now that the show is over. Even as raw as the Teutul's were on the Discovery Channel and TLC, Michael's presence on his podcast is somehow more relaxed and vulnerable. On an episode where he tries to recount where some of his friends from the shop have ended up over the years, he casually admits that he sees his own story as tragic, presumably because he hasn't broken out on his own in the biking industry. On the other hand, he also bears it all about lighter topics, such as how he and his family got pulled into an episode of King of the Hill, or how he showed up drunk to an interview with Conan O'Brien. Cody Connelly was but a boy when he got his foot in the door as a motorcycle-loving 14-year-old intern at Orange County Choppers before American Chopper came to pass. After finishing school, he put the skills he learned to work at the shop, fixing up and designing bikes until 2007. That's when Vinnie DiMartino amicably left both the business and the show to start his own company, V-Force Customs, and Connelly followed him. He kept doing what he'd been doing at OCC at V-Force for a few years before returning to the world of the Teutul's in the form of a job at Paul Teutul Jr.'s design shop.
I agreed to work with Junior because, there's never been an issue between me and Junior. I've always had nothing but good things to say about him. I love working side by side with him.
Today, he's out of the professional bike game altogether and currently works for a utility company. In 2009, Connelly made tabloid headlines for taking legal action against some of his former employers. According to the suit, Connelly claimed that he was paid for only around a third of the episodes in which he actually appeared, and nothing for public appearances that promoted OCC. He also alleged that the show used his image in American Chopper merchandise after he'd left the show in 2007. Even worse, Teutul Sr. never gave him a chopper he'd worked on that he'd been promised. Connelly saw $250,000 in damages, and the case was eventually settled out of court. Though you may not be able to spot Mike Rowe by face, his voice will surely catch your attention if you're a longtime fan of American Chopper. A prolific Discovery Channel host who has hosted or narrated such classics as Deadliest Catch, Dirty Jobs, and even Shark Week, Rowe has also developed a close relationship with the Fox network over the past decade or so. This began in earnest in 2013 when he made his debut on Huckabee. While Mike Huckabee never made it back to Fox after effectively canceling his own show for a second failed presidential bid, Rowe remains with the network as the host of his very own Fox business program, How America Works. Over the past 3 seasons, Rowe and his crew have explored the economics and labor behind a wide range of jobs, including wheat production, pipeline construction, concrete manufacturing, and firefighting. The TV host has also launched a podcast, The Way I Heard It with Mike Rowe, but his career may not end with broadcasting. In 2024, he revealed that he had been interviewed by Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s team as part of the presidential candidate's VP selection process, though RFK ended up picking Nicole Shanahan as his running mate. As it did with Paul Jr. and Michael, American Chopper seems to have shown Jason Pohl that he has a unique perspective that the world is interested in hearing. However, Pohl isn't just offering personal insights and behind-the-scenes stories from his time as a reality star. He's trying to inspire his fans all across America by showing them the wonders of 3D printing, as well as how they might use it to take their creative passions to new heights. For the past several years, Pohl has worked as a brand ambassador for the 3D design company SolidWorks, which creates software that helps professionals interface with printers and integrate them into their businesses. Judging by his Instagram, Pohl has taken a characteristically vehicle-focused interest in printing, as his posts prominently feature 3D printed monster trucks and race cars. Clearly, the end of American Chopper hasn't brought about an end to his passion for creativity and design. While much of the Orange County Choppers alumni remains devoted to designing the wildest motorcycles ever seen, Brendon Thompson has taken a different, yet somehow even wilder path. These days, Thompson can be seen working on unique four-wheeled all-terrain buggies used in the niche sport known as rock racing. The National Rock Racing Association hosts events where folks like Thompson can race a sort of vehicle you'd never see in NASCAR. With a skeletal exposed frame and massive tires made for crawling through almost any environment, these cars make up for what they lack in traditional OCC style flair with how durable they are under pressure. From mountainous outdoor arenas to muddy tracks populated by dense foliage, rock racers are designed to withstand harsh elements and even harsher competition. Based on Thompson's Instagram, he works regularly in this space with competitive tire manufacturer Maxxis Tires.